Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an Airbus A330 pilot, and today we are going to travel back in time to the good old German holiday airline LTU. LTU used to operate out of the main base Düsseldorf, and they mostly used wide-body aircraft to carry huge amount of passengers to their holiday destinations. Now, back in the day when they've been operating until about 2009, they did use those wide-body aircraft, which you don't really see today anymore, because of slot constraints. Back in the day you needed more separation, airports couldn't take as many aircraft, and therefore it made sense that you just do one daily flight to a destination with a wide-body aircraft rather than two daily flights with a narrow-body, as is mostly done nowadays. Now that meant that the A330 200 and 300 were used quite a lot for those European flights, and since it is January, actually February now, and wintertime, we are going to fly down to the Canary Islands for a lovely 2-week beach holiday in some lovely temperatures. Now, before we go into our plane, let's go ahead and have a look at our flight plan, and over here we can see some of the basics. Now, we are gonna depart Düsseldorf and then head through Belgium, France, Spain and Portugal down to the Canaries. Looking at the significant weather chart, we are mostly going to fly in the jet stream over here. Little clear air turbulence area over here all the way up to flight level 400, so the first hour and a half of the flight may be a little bit turbulent, until we are eventually going to land in Gran Canaria. Now, how does the weather look like down there? Well, having a look into the flight plan, Düsseldorf has good weather conditions, probably runway 05 in use today, and then over in Gran Canaria they have lovely weather with a temperature going up to 22 degrees today. There is a probability of 30% for some winds at 360-22, gust 34 until 1500 UTC. And if we just go up in the flight plan, we can see we land at 1602. Now, legally speaking, we gotta add 1 hour to the expected arrival time in order to determine the necessity for any extra fuel due to weather. However, today, since our alternate Fuerteventura has a lot better weather conditions, we don't really have to worry about those gusts anyway, and we can basically disregard them. However, good airmanship kind of dictates that we are going to take it into account. Well, and with that, we have already arrived at the fuel planning. So, first things first, we arrive more than on time, even if we depart a little bit delayed. And then, with all of that considered, our planned off-block fuel is 25.1. And, well, 25.2 actually. Now the question is, do we want to take any extra for the forecast weather? The answer to that is no, not really. We already have 8 minutes extra fuel included in the plan over here, so that we don't land with like 4 tons of fuel in the tanks. And with that out of the way, we don't really need to take extra. So if we take 25.5 tons, we should be more than good to go. Well, and with that decided, let's now head over into the aircraft and start to setting up for today's service. Now we're going to start with the basics over here. So the engine master switches are off, the start selector is normal, the weather radar should have the ground control services on and weather and turbulence selected, and then the landing gear lever is down, the wipers are off, and the batteries are... oh, that number 2 is actually quite far down. But we have to say that the airplane has just been powered down for about an hour and a bit, so the voltages are just about okay. In any case, let's go ahead and turn the batteries on, turn the external powers on, and we will keep the battery charge in mind. So then, the cockpit lights are set, then we can set up our radios, and since we have no ATC online at the time, we are going to use 1 to 2.8 and 1 to 1.5. Like that, and we want to be sure that we can actually listen to both of them, and we also want to listen to the intercom like that, and turn the loudspeakers up, both sides please, like that. Wonderful. Alright then,
runway awareness okay, meters,
APU fire test looking good, and we can start up the APU, master on and starter on. So IRSs 1, 2 and 3 going into nav. Well, and with that our aircraft is now initially powered up. Next up, let's go into the electronic flight bag, import our flight plan. And here we are, LTU 114 Düsseldorf to Gran Canaria. The weather is still pretty much unchanged. Then let's go into the payload page, download the SimReef data, and we said we wanted to take 25.5. So apply that and let's load it instantly. Well, and then our preliminary takeoff data. We're going to use Düsseldorf's runway 05 right today. And that runway does absolutely not have 3,400 meters. I'm not sure where that misconception in the EFB comes from. So let's have a look. Düsseldorf 05 right, we can pin that. We can pin the parking charts and then the departure charts as well. And we are going to depart towards the southeast, I suppose. I tell you what, let's pin both of them. So, first of all, how long is our runway actually? Düsseldorf 05 right and Lima 9 is the full length, so that gives us 3,000 meters of runway. Here we are, the weather is good for our weight. Let's have a look. 175 should be just about fine. So 175, conv 2, air conditioning off, calculate. And here we go, 70 degrees of flex temperature, speeds are looking good. Performance limited weight is above the structural max takeoff weight, so we are good to go. Alright, perfect. So, takeoff data is done. Then, technical status of the aircraft. Well, we don't have any MEL items, we do not have any OEBs. There's nothing in the books, and there is no need for an ETOPS PDSC check, so our aircraft is accepted for service. 1500 psi oxygen, we have enough hydraulic quantities, and then let's check the oil quantities as well. Like that, and that's looking more than good. Perfect. Alright. APU is avail. So APU bleed on. So flaps are up, agree with the levers, spoilers retracted, then let's test the alternate brakes. And that's looking very good. Okay. Excellent. So with that, we are basically done. And we can start our pre-flight procedures. So, oxygen on, recorder on, evacuation switch and captain only. Lights, signs. Then let's go ahead and test our batteries. So how are they looking right now? 27 volts each. Let's turn them off. And back on again. And we can observe that they are charging properly. Excellent, that is what we wanted to see. Alright, refueling is complete, so the pumps are going on. Then we can do the engine fire test, which is also looking good. And down here everything is set. We want to be sure to record the PA, so let's turn that up. Voice recorder test is unfortunately not simulated here. Then we can go down to the main panel. Updating the Düsseldorf weather, the QNH is still 1032. Let's go ahead and bring that one in. And here we go, 1032. We'll select the clock to GPS. Up here everything's set. Down here everything is set. Squawk 2000, and that's all looking good. Thrust levers. I have no idea why they've been in such a strange position, but let's bring them into the idle position. Okay, so then we can start with our FMS setup. A330-200. CF6 engines, the database is current. We can delete any of that previously stored stuff. Check all those scratchpad messages. And then request our flight initialization. So, Düsseldorf to Gran Canaria, alternate Fuerteventura, LTU 114, Costa X20, flight level 390. Alright, flight plan, depart Düsseldorf of 05 right, and we are departing via the Modru 7 Zulu departure today. Insert. And we arrive in Gran Canaria, most likely runway 03 left, ILS Zulu approach. And we have the Samar 6 Charlie arrival. Like that, we need a transition here. Of course, no info available over here. Well, then let's check the other FMS. Lalto. Okay, then we take the Lalto transition. And insert. Excellent, then let's have a look at our departure charts to see where we are going. We'll take the southeast charts first. Let's have a look if that one includes our... Nope, it doesn't. That's why I find those Düsseldorf charts always a bit confusing. Now let's have a look at the northwest chart. And even though we are departing, well, west, it's more like southwest, but you get the idea. Alright, so for our departure itself, straight at 600, Delta Lima 050, 053, Nikok. And then we've got Orzov, Webak, Netex, and Modru to cross Modru above flight level 210, which absolutely shouldn't be a problem today. Alright. Then we can remove the discontinuity down here. Let's scroll through the plan real quick to see if there is anything worth looking at. Well, that arrival doesn't look very good. We'll most likely fly something like Xebus and then over here Tisca also, or maybe even do a visual approach. We'll see about that, but we'll decide on that when we actually get there. So that's all we needed over there. Then let's go ahead and store our engine out point. So that's going to be Düsseldorf X2. And that's EDDL... No, that was wrong. Let's try that again. Bloody GSX with no blocking my click spots again. 05 right slash 052 and straight at 425 miles. PBD point, store, and then secondary. Dus X2 into here. Holding 1 minute lag time, and we'll do left-hand turns since we don't want to turn towards the hilly terrain in the south. And if we got to come back immediately, then Düsseldorf is available as destination. With an ILS approach 05 right, insert that. Okay, then onto the fixed page. Let's draw the extended center line. So Düsseldorf 05 right, radial 052, which equals the runway heading, and then Dus X2. Like that, perfect. Don't need any nav aids for the departure. We can insert a runway over here, Düsseldorf 05 right. And then let's go on to our performance initialization. So we start with a zero fuel weight of 149.1 and 25. Then the fuel is 25.5. Taxi fuel 0.5, realistically a lot less, but we'll take it. Then contingency 0.6. The alternate fuel is 2.3, and the final reserve fuel 2.1. That's it. The average wind component is a tailwind of 40 knots. Like that, and then let's go ahead and uplink our winds. Alright, well that's in progress. We can enter the takeoff data. And for that, we have a config 2 takeoff at 70 degrees flex temperature. So 2 and 70. And then our speeds are going to be 140, 141, 143. Alright, reduction and acceleration are okay. Engine out acceleration will be at 1500 above the ground. And last but not least, we take a D-rate climb 2, since we are below 200 tons of weight. And that's our SID data entered. So last but not least, we are going to prepare the glare shield. Flight directors on, QNH 1032, VORs, constraints, initial climb to 5000. And that's everything set. Alright, perfect. So that our flight deck setup is complete, then we're supposed to go off block in 2 minutes. So let's go ahead with our briefing, please. And that's your turn, FO. Alright, perfect. Düsseldorf 05 right, via the Model 7 Zulu departure, climbing 5000, MSA 2800, and extra fuel is around 10 minutes, 800 kilos. Thank you. I have no hotspots for the planned taxi routing. The engine outset is straight at 25 miles, Düsseldorf X2, stop margin around, well, a couple meters. We can make an immediate return here to Düsseldorf. We are below the max landing weight, which is 182. And Düsseldorf, 3,000 meters runway, 2,700 landing distance available. If we really need more for whatever reason, then we can always go to Cologne, which has 3,800 meters available. Apart from that, I do not have any specials on non-standards over here. Do you see any threats? No? Okay. That's the briefing complete. Cockpit preparation checklist, please. Gear pins and covers removed. Fuel quantity. That's 25,460 kilogram balanced. Seatbelts on, ADRs. Nav, barrel ref, QNH 1032. Cockpit preparation checklist complete. So, very well. Disconnecting the external power. And you can remove that in here as well, please. And then let's get GSX to prepare the position for pushback and departure. While that's ongoing, let's say hello to our guests today. Ladies and gentlemen, very good morning from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel. In the name of LTU, welcome on board flight 114 to Gran Canaria. The flight time today is calculated at 3 hours and 55 minutes. We expect a smooth flight in 39,000 feet or around about 12,000 meters. We would like to thank you very much for being our guests today. Sit back, relax and enjoy the flight with us. Liebe Gäste, einen wunderschönen guten Morgen aus dem Cockpit. Hier spricht Ihr Kapitän. Mein Name ist Emmanuel. Im Namen der LTU darf ich Sie herzlich an Bord von Flug 114 nach Gran Canaria willkommen heißen. Flugzeit heute 3 Stunden 55, was unter anderem durch starke Rückenwinde im ersten Teil des Fluges bedingt ist. Da können wir möglicherweise auf einige leichte Turbulenzen stoßen und bitten Sie daher angeschnallt zu bleiben, auch wenn die Anschnallzeichen ausgeschaltet sind, solange Sie sich in Ihren Sitzen befinden. Lehnen Sie sich jetzt zurück und genießen den Flug mit uns. Wir melden uns dann im Anflug mit den neuesten Wetterinformationen. Alright, so that much about our passengers. Then they are connecting the tuck right now, it seems. And well, that's pretty much everything we gotta do for the time being. So we are waiting for GSX. We already have our clearance, so I tell you what, let's go ahead and run the before start checklist. Well, or in the meantime, let's actually turn that beacon off again for a moment. The thing that I always miss in flight simulation is the load sheet, for the simple fact that you don't get a load sheet. But here we go, 149.1 and the CG is 25.4. So we've got 149.1 already, and then 25.4. That's a takeoff weight of 174.1, and that equals the current gross weight on board, 25.5 tons of fuel, and gross weight CG at 23.6, which we have in here as well, and that's a trim of 5.7 units up. Alright, perfect. So then, this time now, before start checklist. Park and brake set, takeoff speeds and thrust. V1 140, VR 141, V2 143, flex 70. Windows closed, beacon on, before start checklist complete. Ground from cockpit. Yeah, hello. So, please confirm. Doors and hatches closed, ground equipment removed, bypass pin is installed, and we're ready to push. Roger, we can confirm doors hatches closed, ground equipment removed, and bypass pin is installed. Okay, vielen Dank. Pushback approved on to Papa 4, runway 05. Roger, Papa 4, runway 05. Release brakes. Brake released. Thank you, starting the push. We call it on time? Yeah, we call it Deutsche Bahn on time. Not even 3 minutes. Any delay that's recorded by the system will just be blamed on inaccurate departure time in the ACAS system. We have pushed on time. Okay, clear to start 1 and 2 in sequence. Roger, 1 and 2 in sequence, starting 1. Clear 1. We are basically behind the line, so let's go for it. Engine 1 start. So, pushing onto Papa 4 over here. I have no idea why they are going for a wing walker here, but, well, so be it. And that looks like we mostly have a good start in engine number 1. Okay, ground. We have a good start in engine number 1, starting engine number 2. Clear 2. And here we go. 1 avail, starting 2. So, push is complete. Set your brakes. Park and brake set. You're clear to disconnect all the equipment and stand by for engine number 2. Stand by. So, engine start in progress. Can we see anything happening down here already? Not yet. So they're probably working on it. So, number 2 has ignition. Looking good so far. But it's an Airbus. You never know. When the start cycle is basically finished, then we might always get an ECAM. Okay, so here's a tuck, here's a tow bar. Okay, 2 good starts, clear disconnect, show me the pin on the right, please. Have a wonderful day. Cheers. So let's see, 23.6%, and we're at roughly 23.6%. Excellent. And there's the ramp agent holding us the pin, so thumbs up. After start checklist. Anti-ice, off, ecom status, checked, pitch trim, 23.6%, rudder trim, neutral, after start checklist complete. Flight control check. Full up. Full down, neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. And neutral. Alright, request taxi please. And that's going to be straight ahead onto the main taxiway and then to runway 05 right. Clear left side. Clear right side. Ramp agent is gone. Excellent. Brake check. Pressure 0. At this weight, you normally wouldn't need any thrust to get the aircraft to accelerate at a proper speed and then move at a proper speed, but let's be better safe than sorry here. After all, we want to go. Okay, not many aircraft over here, which is quite a good sign when they're all flying. So, everything is clear left and right. So, back down to 10 knots, and then it's gonna be left and left. This turn here is a little bit of a tricky one, because you gotta ensure that the main wheel doesn't track anywhere outside the marked taxiway area here. Especially when you're operating a wide body that goes for the A330 just like it does for the 777 or the A380, which park over there. Then you've got to be rather careful with these. Okay, so at the end, until we don't fit onto the taxiway anymore, that'd be over there. And then off to the right, and then we're already at the full length. Do you have any changes to the briefing? Because I don't. Cabin is ready, excellent. Taxi checklist. Flight controls, checked. Flap setting, config 2, radar and predictive wind shear, on and auto, engine start selector, norm, ECA memo, takeoff, no blue. Taxi checklist, complete. Alright, not the intersection, but we go to the full length. So it looks like it's gotten rather cloudy rather quickly. Let's just do a quick weather update here. Check that we still have valid takeoff data. QNH is now 1031. Okay. Approach area is clear. Cabin crew, prepare for departure.
Approaching 0, 5, right.
Intentionally. Lineup checklist. Takeoff runway 05 right, Lima 9, TCAS, Tara, PAX 1 and 2, off. Lineup checklist complete. Ready? Yes? Good.
On runway 0, 5, right.
Takeoff. Flex 70 SS runway auto thrust blue. Thrust set. (100 knots), checked. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav, checked. They still got to work on the pitch power values here. You should have 15 degrees after takeoff, not 10 degrees. Thrust decline 2, climb auto thrust. Flaps 1, speed checked. Flaps 1. Flaps 0, speed checked. Flaps 0. I really just gotta love this livery. Absolutely love it. Alright, so both packs on. Let's continue the climb for a bit. Say level 100. Lovely look outside. The graphics are just so good in this sim. So incredibly good. Autopilot 1. Set standard. Standard cross-check passing flight level 44. Now. Checked. Alrighty. So with that we're up and in the air. Crossing the Ruhrpott now. Duisburg over here. With its harbor, one of the largest you'll find in Europe. Absolutely gotta love the graphics here. Time and time again. So, quick look out to the right. And down here is where I did my PPL. And my glider flying. Dienstlaken Schwarze Heide. Alright, then let's continue our climb here. Flight level 200 or so. Thrust declimb 2, climb. Alt flight level 200 blue. And passing 100, so lights off, signs off, clear and copy. Alright, cruise 390, optimum 400, maximum 415. I'm kind of thinking whether we should just climb to flight level 410 straight away. However, the flight plan suggested level 39, so let's just have a quick look if there is any reason for that. So according to the flight plan, 390 all the way. Let's see if this is wind related. Find the wind data block. And indeed it is. Look at that. So in 390 we have like 63 knots of tailwind here, and in 410 it's 14 knots less, and the wind is coming directly from the north. It's even worse over here at Kuris, where it's 20 knots difference. So yeah, we definitely stay in level 390. Now, in the real world, the aircraft would have realized that, because we did uplink the wind, remember? So if we go into the wind data block over here, it should have been there. Well, then let's do it this way. So if we look at this, you can see the aircraft definitely knows about the wind difference. Look at that. Over here at Chorus, it has 61 knots of tailwind in 390 and then 9 knots in 450. So you can definitely see the aircraft knows about the wind. And it should automatically adjust the optimum based on that. So we are gonna stay in 390 even though the optimum recommends something different. Well, well, and with that we are on the way. Then let's relax, enjoy the views, and I see you all as we are approaching the Canary Islands. So we're overflying Samar, and from here we are going to join the arrival into Gran Canaria. Let's go ahead and start collecting the latest weather so that we can make a decision on our landing runway and on the approach procedures in use. So the wind is 0 to 0 at 21. We do have 21 degrees and a QNH at 1026. So our plan with landing runway 23 left is certainly still a valid one. Now let's go ahead and find our charts and start to prepare the aircraft for our landing. And for that, let's start by finding the charts for our arrival airport. So that's going to be Golf Charlie Lima Papa, Gran Canaria. Now we gotta hope that the chart browser is still working, which it isn't. Oh, what a wonder. Why am I not surprised? Alright, so for the arrival we are going to go into the Navigraph charts once again. This is something I'll probably never really understand, but hopefully that's a bug that they are going to fix soon, so... Oh, look at that! Navigraph is in-up as well. Can we fix that somehow? Doesn't look like it. Lovely, so we're stuck without any charts for the arrival. Well, it's not like there aren't any solutions to that. We can always use the Navigraph chart app offline, or rather use it as an external app and overlay that onto our video. However, I wasn't really prepared for that, so it's going to take a moment until we have that up. Okay, so Navigraph charts, here they are. Now for the arrival, Samar 6 Charlie is what we have on here. And then we can take the ILS approach into runway 03 left, and we'll take the ILS Zulu approach. Now, let's go ahead and have a look into our FMS, because we are surely going to fly a little shortcut every here and there. So from the flight plan, let's see and compare. So we do have Totgo, and from Totgo we are going to proceed via... trying to do too many things at the same time. So from Totgo we are going to proceed towards Maras, 220 knots. No, that's actually not correct. That's Samar 5 Delta only. So Totgo, below level 140, then to Gran Canaria VR, above flight level 70, Xebus above 6000, Bafem, and then towards L'Alto, maximum 220, above 5000. That's what we have in here. Now, I'm going to change the restriction over at Xebus, so that we are going to cross Xebus exactly in flight level 60. The reason I'm doing this is because that'll allow us to fly onto a nice downwind over here, and then onto a nice 10-mile final. That way we don't have to fly all the way into the wrong direction. Now the ILS approach Zulu, runway 03 left, out of L'Alto, which is down here, 220 knots, 5000, and we continue towards La Cor, Knights, Tisca, and that's maximum 210 knots, towards Adoki, and then onto the final at Falpu. And Falpu is maximum 190 knots and above 2,500 feet. And then we continue towards the final, and we have the Fox India 03 left, which is at 5.8 miles, so that's that waypoint up here, in 2,000 feet, and then 3.90 me, 1385. And thereafter we do have a go-around procedure, which leads us to Lima Papa 405, right turn waypoint 406, and then track 075, which we have over here, and we're climbing to 3,000 feet, which we have in here as well. Maximum 210 knots for the missed approach, that should probably not be a problem. Right, we don't need any RATNAV page, and GCLP03 left is going into the progress page. On the performance pages then, we'll do the descent at 0.80 and 300 knots. Then QNH 1026, let's see about the weather again. That's 020 at 21 and 21 degrees. Lovely. So 21 and 020 at 21. Perfect. We're going to do a config 3 landing, and the minimum for this one is going to be category Charlie, 392 feet. Like that. Perfect. Now for our go around, we do have an MSA of 8,500 all around. That means we are going to use the missed approach altitude 3,000 feet as our engine out acceleration. Extra fuel, yeah, well, we are not going to fly all the way out here, so if we fly the approach like that with the standard traffic pattern, then we will have probably around 0, so more or less exactly the minimum destination fuel. But that's fine for me. For the runway itself, we have 3,100 meters available. We'll probably be able to vacate Sierra 3 using auto brakes low, and that's gonna be it. Alternatively, we could just leave the auto brakes off and do manual braking, which I have to say I kinda prefer, so that's probably what we're gonna do. Alright, and that's the arrival preparation already completed. Then let's get rid of the charts here again, and then we can start our approach briefing when you're ready. Yeah, definitely ready. So, we are on the Samar 6 Charlie arrival, and we are going to perform an ILS Zulu approach, runway 03 left, MSA 8,500. Due to the mountain on the island, the approach area is mostly over water actually. Minimums 392, in case of go-around, straight at right-hand turn, climbing 3,000. Extra fuel? Well, more or less none, but the weather is good, so we could even commit to landing at Gran Canaria for the time being. Very good, so we'll use flight director guidance for the approach, landing config 3, stop margin more than plenty, reversers maximum, auto brakes off, and we plan to vacate the runway to the left, most likely Sierra 3, maybe at the end. I don't see hotspots for the taxiing, and I have nothing special on non-standard. Do you have anything? No? Perfect. So that's our briefing completed. Then let's say bye-bye to our guests. Liebe Gäste aus dem Cockpit, Ihr Kapitän, wir werden in Kürze den Sinkflug in Richtung Gran Canaria beginnen. Die verbleibende Flugzeit jetzt noch circa 30 Minuten. Das Wetter wunderschön, 21 Grad bei einem mäßigen Nordwind. Wir bedanken uns ganz herzlich, dass Sie heute unsere Gäste waren, wünschen Ihnen einen schönen Aufenthalt. Wir werden Ihnen im Anflug noch ein wenig die Insel zeigen, sodass Sie von beiden Seiten des Flugzeugs die Strände einmal aus der Luft gesehen haben und möchten uns dann damit auch von Ihnen verabschieden. Wir wünschen Ihnen einen schönen Urlaub, gegebenenfalls eine gute und sichere Weiterreise und hoffen, Sie bald wieder an Bord eines unserer Flugzeuge begrüßen zu dürfen. Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. We will start our descent to Gran Canaria soon. The weather over there currently light wind from the north, temperature 21 degrees. On our way into Gran Canaria, we're going to show you the island on both sides of the aircraft so that you have seen the beautiful beaches from the sky, and then we wish you a very nice stay, if applicable, a nice and safe continuous journey, and we hope to see you again on board a future scheduled flight. Thank you very much for your attention, and we hope to see you again soon. Alright, so our passengers are briefed, then we can start our descent, and I see you again as we start our approach. So we just started to receive radar vectors for the approach into Gran Canaria. What's important when you're vectoring yourself on an arrival like this is basically they will never vector you over the beaches and over the tourist places. In general, they will normally try to get you to stay away from the shoreline. So looking around on the right hand side, we can see we're flying right next to the shore, but not over it. And that's one of the most important things there. So, in the meantime, we have passed 10,000 feet, so let's go lights on, signs on, constraints LS, and we have GPS primary with a high accuracy, and the engine start selector is in the norm position. So, with all of that out of the way, let's clean up our flight plan and continue the descent down towards 6,000 feet on the QNH 1026. Set QNH. QNH cross check passing 8,100 now. Checked. Okay, clean up the flight plan please, and you can extend the center line from Falpu. So let's see, the final approach course is 03 and a bit, so around about 210 should be the radial in. Alright, insert that one. Here we go. And then let's do the approach checklist, please. So, barrel ref, QNH 1026. Seatbelts on, minimum, barrel 392. Auto brake off, engine start selector, norm, approach checklist complete. So it looks like we're approaching a couple of clouds here, temperature 18, so we don't need anti-ice. That's always one of those things that always strike me when I'm doing these holiday flights. You depart home in cold temperatures, you're always thinking about anti-ice, and then you get into those warm countries, you're seeing clouds outside, you're thinking, oh, I need anti-ice. Then you look at the temperature and you're like, oh, no, I don't need anti-ice. So then, we are past the departure sector, so let's descend altitude 3000. And maintain those 220 knots for the time being. Here we go, so thrust idle, open descent alt 3000 blue. And then turn right heading 210. Here we go. So, straight tailwind on the downwind, that means the final is going to become a little bit more interesting. Activate approach phase, and then let's help the aircraft a little bit to get down. So let's see, the field is located right over there. Field on sight. Just here it is. And then beautiful look at the shoreline. Beautiful look at the island. Oh, what's the camera doing here? Here it is. That's looking pretty good indeed, isn't it? I just really love that LTU livery. One of the most beautiful liveries I've ever seen. So long, back into the flight deck. And then let's start our base turn. So turn right, heading 300. And manual flight. Descent altitude 2000. Manage speed, because it's time to slow down. Glide slope alive, flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. So ILP 58, radial indirect. Okay, well, interesting line drawing, but let's not care about it. Continue the right hand turn. Heading 360, cleared ILS approach, runway 03 right.
2,500.
Checked. Lockstar. Okay, retracting the speed brakes now. But the A330 really is an aircraft. If you fly shortcuts like this, you gotta stay ahead. You gotta stay ahead of the aircraft. If you mess this up, then you're basically done. Okay, glide slope star, localizer star. Gran altitude 3000 set, flaps 2. Gear down. And flaps 3. Speed checked. Flaps 3. So right now you see exactly why I said you gotta stay on top of this. You can see the aircraft barely loses any speed, even though we have 25 knots of headwind here. And since we gotta be stable in 1000 feet, we can now just wait and see. Of course we could still use the speed brakes, but I think we'll be able to do without them. So, the cabin is ready, landing checklist, Econ memo, landing no blue, landing checklist, complete. But you can really nicely see how the aircraft struggles to slow down over here. So, here we go, now we are down at the approach speed. Checked. So we were literally just about stable. Now the wind is picking up again. That's what I like about flying to those Canary Island airports so much. The wind is always a challenge. Especially if it comes across the hills and the mountains.
Approaching 03 left.
Checked.
500.
Too fast! Too
Nope.
fast! Unstable!
Under the right.
Unstable!
Absolutely not.
Minimum
Continue.
200.
You can see I'm keeping a little extra speed here because the wind is rather... It's changing rather often these days, so I am kinda expecting a slight drop there.
30. 20. 10.
So the aft boogie is down, the forward boogie is down, and the nose wheel is down. Spoilers. Reverse green, decel. You can see how it very nicely slows down without any auto brake in it.
100 meters remaining.
If you've got like 2,200 meters or a little bit more, the airplane can be landed very nicely with just maximum reverse, no auto brakes.
Remaining.
Okay, 70 knots. And here we go, 3 hours and 50 minutes. Welcome to Gran Canaria. So, now we gotta pay careful attention to any possible wingspan restrictions that might exist. Because the A330 is not like your typical aircraft landing here. But it looks like everything is clear and nothing to worry about. Good. So, let's get that APU running. Rather important to get that going now. Because it does take a little while to start up. Looks like we do need a little bit of power to get around this turn. It looks a little bit uphill to me. Even though we can't really tell it from the attitude indicator, but it definitely feels like it. Alright, GSX, parking position, Tango. Why do they say they're all too small? Okay, Tango 12 is okay for us, then let's go to Tango 12. Handling by, let's take Acciona, then we have an easygoing explanation as to why we are delayed. Just look at how massive the A330 is here. There's really not that much space left to the red lines at the gate. And that is on both sides. So, probably going a little fast here. Let's get it back down to 20 knots. Okay, so the lights are off and the weather radar is off, then we can turn into the gate. Tango 12 is on the right hand side here. Right, we do have a docking system, we do have staff at the gate, that's very good already. So GSX wouldn't be GSX if it didn't do something wrong. Why does it say A330 300 while we're sitting in 200? Right, 4 meters, 3, 2, 1, stop. Very good. So, APU bleed is on and available. Shutdown 1 and 2. Cabin crew, all doors in park. Very nice. The engines are running down, both below 20. Beacon off, signs off. Parking checklist. Parking record trucks, brake set, engines off, and fuel pumps off. Parking checklist complete. Alright then. So, transponder going off. Fuel, we had even distribution, used 21 tons. Now that's a little bit more than what we should have used. Let's have another look at the flight plan. So we were expected to use 19.3 plus 400 taxi, so around about, let's say, 20 tons. We did use 21, so rather significantly increased fuel usage here, but arrived with 4.5 in the tanks, and you can kinda guess why I took those 600 extra up here, because otherwise we would have had a problem. I kinda anticipated that it would use a little bit more fuel than expected. So, well, here we are. And last but not least, the IRSs did run just fine. So with that, my friends, thank you very much for flying along. I sure hope that you have all enjoyed the flight with us. Leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video, and in the meantime, as always, be sure to like, comment and subscribe if you're up for more, and if you really love what I'm doing on the channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much, and I see you all again on the next one.